So we're gonna call the meeting to order, and everybody is here except Mayor Graham. He's out sick, and so we have the roll call. We got Josh, Eric, Mayor Carroll, Henry, Anita, Tanya, Rhonda, and Mayor Graham's out sick. So we'll have prayer, and then we'll get started if that's good with everybody. You will say prayer?
Sure. Dear God, thank you for this opportunity to gather together, Lord. I pray that you would give us the wisdom that we need as we talk through the business of the county and the city. Lord, I pray that you would just continue to watch over us, be with every family that's represented, be with those that are sick and have lost loved ones. Lord, it's in your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So Josh has give out everybody the, I think he's got together the benefits of implementing the senior tax freeze. Him and Eric's been working on it. And we'll start with whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. Yeah. This is kind of open. Anybody that's got a question, whenever, just yell it out. So we're here mainly to get questions cleared up. So
Kind of a study committee,
kind of
so
a study. We're studying.
Yeah.
So I think all of our county commissioners that are here, including ones not on the committee, got the same handouts that we do. You got on the state stuff as well, right? Yeah. So everybody's got what we're looking at. I'm not gonna. Everybody here is literate, so I'm not going to read all this. So, but I'll just hit on a couple key points. The reason we're looking at this is obviously to protect our seniors. We've got vulnerable seniors. This particularly impacts low-income seniors. It has income limits. We're going to look at two different income limits in this case. That is all we, as the county and the city, have the ability to do. I've gotten messages from seniors. Get rid of our property tax, freeze everybody's property tax. We can't do that. So all we can do is do what the state allows us, which is this particular program that we're presenting here tonight. We already have in place a tax relief program. That wasn't even put in place by us. That's put in by the state. Every county has that. We have agreed, Mayor Graham graciously 2 years ago agreed to put it in the county budget. The city matches that in the city budget as well. Those numbers are on the front of this, the handout that we've given everybody, that up here near the top. I'll just kind of run it down from top to bottom without hitting all the numbers, but just to kind of explain it to you. The very top of the front sheet is just demographics that came from the Census Bureau. In Bedford County, we have 7,458 seniors as of the most recent census estimate. Inside the city of Shelbyville, we have 2,760. On the property tax relief program, the state gives seniors that qualify, which is those making less than $37,530 a year, they give them $118 and the county matches that. The city gives the same set of seniors, if they live in the city, $75 match to what the state gives. In addition to seniors, this program, which we may circle back around to tax relief near the end of this study session, maybe not tonight, but on another night, because the mayor was interested, possibly one of the possibilities, rather than doing the freeze, would be just to increase the dollars we're putting into this relief program. Because in addition to seniors, the relief program helps disabled, which don't have to be seniors. It helps disabled veterans, and then it helps the widows of disabled veterans, and also veterans that were killed in duty. If you were killed in action, your widow gets money from the state to help with your property tax. Something that I learned just as recently as yesterday that I did not know, I thought both us and the city and Bedford County was matching just for seniors, the tax relief program. As my good friend Kay, who knows everything about what's going on in the city, told me, the city is actually matching all tax relief. We're matching the veterans, we're matching the disabled. That could be something that the county may want to look at down the road. That's not really what we're here to discuss. That's a budget item, but that is something that's happening with the city. We're matching all tax relief that comes from the state. We match it at 100%. So we, as she pointed out to me, we've got veterans that live in the city that have their complete property tax bill, city property tax, wiped out by some of that. You know, if your house is worth, you know, whatever, it may be enough to cover all of it. So running down from there, there's two options in the tax freeze. It's either a maximum income of $42,000 and change there, or $61,000. I met last week with Tanya. We just we guessed, I mean, these are educated guesses, but we guessed on how many seniors could get on the program if we were to add this tax freeze program. So we guessed at the lower dollar figure, we might be able to help as many as 720 seniors. And then at the higher dollar figure, maybe as many as 1,800 seniors could get on that program at the 61,000 amount. Below that is just state demographics, and the big call out from that, which was one I learned a couple weeks ago, was I'd always heard 27 counties are on this, so it sounds like it's not a very successful program. It sounds like, man, why isn't anybody uptaking this program? In reality, those are all our big counties. As far as people living in the state of Tennessee, 67% of residents are covered by this program in the state of Tennessee, because it's only the smaller counties, other than Hamilton, all the other counties that haven't picked up this program are small like us, so we're smaller. So down below that, I've just got a couple examples. Bottom left is kind of probably the most important one. I got these numbers from Tanya. This is our average senior living in Bedford County as we looked at the numbers last week. The average senior in Bedford County that is needing this type of assistance is paying $865 in property tax to the county. And if they're living in the city on that same home, they would be paying $555. After their tax relief, they currently would have a little bit over $1,000 tax bill. Part of the reason we're looking at this freeze, in addition to the tax relief, is if, God forbid, we had to raise property taxes in 2 years, those tax relief people are not protected from a tax increase right now. If we did a salary study and we had to raise taxes 20% in two years, those tax relief people have to currently pay that tax increase. So that's where these dollars at the bottom come in. An average senior, if we raise taxes 10%, would save $87 in their county taxes yearly. If there was a 20% increase, they'd save $173. So that's where those figures come from. The bottom right is just an actual real tax bill I pulled for someone that happens to live in my neighborhood that I know that's a senior on a fixed income. So that just gives you an idea of somebody in the city with a slightly nicer house, kind of what they would save. So going over to the back, I think these are the questions. This is what I've heard from county commissioners. What in the world does this cost us? Can we afford to do this? Can the county afford this? Can the city afford this? Right up there at the top this is how much we're collecting this year in property tax. That's the county number I got from Robert. That's the 8.7 is the city amount that I got from Kay. You got two costs if we implement this. One is restricted revenue. This is where everybody's told me, hey, you're shifting burden to younger people. This is real dollars of what you're moving around if you implement this. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to skip all those. You can read them yourself. I'm going to go to the bottom right one, worst case scenario. 20% tax increase at the higher income limit. You've got 1,800 seniors that you're helping. What does it cost the county and the city to implement this in restricted revenue? On the county side, the number we came up with is $314,000. You got to understand that is after a 20% tax increase. So if the county had to raise taxes that much, that would be $314,000 out of 20% more than that 32.7. So you'd be 314,000 out of like a almost $40 million budget. So that's where the percentages come from. I met with Mayor Graham last week. I know he's under the weather tonight. His concern was, one of his concerns, and he'll be here hopefully next time he voiced himself, but these numbers move every year. We get a different penny calculation, whatever happens. In that case, this dollar amount, yes, that 314 might go up if we had a higher penny, but for that to go up, that top line number has to go up too. The only way the penny goes up is we're bringing in more taxes. So the percentages are pretty much going to stay in line unless we had a huge demographic shift in seniors. And then so that's one side of the cost. The second side of the cost, which is why we have our two resident experts here, Rhonda and Tanya, is this takes work. I mean, it doesn't happen by itself. So I spoke with, and I believe Tanya has as well, Putnam County, who's the most recent county to adopt this. And I also watched, they ran a committee just like this for 6 months. They did a presentation. I watched their presentation. Their estimate, and I think this is high, but I want to put it out there just because I don't want to hide numbers that look like they're scary. I don't think these are accurate, But their estimate was it was gonna cost them $130,000 a year to implement this in employee cost. They're helping 1,300 seniors there. That would be $100 per application, to process an application. That's like 4 to 5 hours on each application. I don't think it's gonna take that. I will let Rhonda and Tanya speak to that as far as time. I did pull real numbers from them, from this current year budget, and their trustees' budget has gone up a little over 10% in 2 years. That includes their, just normal raises, their normal cost of insurance. That's their whole budget increase in that office. And then their assessor's office, their budget has gone up $20,000 over 2 years. Same thing, that's including everything. That's raises, that's insurance. So there's nothing indicated in their budget, and they've been on this for 2 years now, that looks like it really cost them $130,000 a year to implement. So with that, I would like to, I think, start on that, which is the employee cost, and just ask, and I know Rhonda's our short timer because she's gonna be retiring in a couple weeks. Just ask you to kind of share with everybody I know you've been forever in the assessor's office, and you've been to all the meetings of all the assessors across the state that have implemented this. What are you hearing? What do you think it costs? And
I talked to several today and yesterday, assessors themselves, and, every one of them out of the gate said, backload tax relief. And there's pros and cons to all of it. My thing is, it would take one employee, I believe. Now, most of the offices I talked to today said 2, but one of those are their field people. The first year out, we're looking at everything. We're on the ground and we're looking to see, okay, we're gonna freeze you, where are you at? What have you got? We have to see if they have 5 acres, they can have up to 5 acres with any supporting structures that go with the house. So then you have to determine what structures actually go with the house and what don't. Some of their problems were, when there's more than one house on the property, and trying to determine and talk with people, okay, where do you live and what is actually goes with this dwelling. Then you've got your greenbelt property, because it all can't be in there. So it's the dwelling and the improvement site, so 1 acre. And then when they add on, which I realize if they're strapped with income, they're not going to be adding on. But, I even have a question about how it's figured, because if they add on, it's not a dollar for dollar tax increase, it's a percentage. So you have to look at it, the calculation is through, and you come up with a percentage, and then you increase that frozen rate, that percentage amount. So the first year, all of them said, it's heck.
Yeah.
You're gonna be spending a lot of time. To put a dollar amount on it, I couldn't do it. It'd be the cost of an employee and everything that goes with it, insurance and all that. So on the front end, there's gonna be a lot of work. I think as you go on each year, not as much work. You've got your baseline. You still have to review it, which they would be reviewing it once every 5 years anyways, out in the field. So that would be part of the review process. But as new ones come on every year, we're gonna have to be out there on the ground. What have you got to get that base? So probably 1 employee. And my other question too, that I was kind of going to, and it might be for later, but my understanding is, if you have, it's your income. So if husband and wife are on a fixed income, they're getting only Social Security, but they have $500,000 in the bank, they'll still qualify. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no asset test. They decided not to add that to the paperwork. So you're kind of relying on somebody that's well off not to take advantage of the program.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I can think of one immediately when you said that there's so much they have, but they don't take their social security.
Yeah.
They just use their interest to apply for tax relief.
See,
Yeah, you're right, relying on their integrity.
Say that again, louder, please.
Just as Wanda said, one came to mind that they don't even take their social security because their income is so great on their interest, that's what they turn in as income. There are very large exits out there in retirement.
but it's not that they're unlawful on that. It's just that
Right, it's just,
this is part of it.
yeah, yeah.
It should be based on W-2, whatever their income is for that year, whether they're taking in Social Security or from dividends off
Whatever
of
else.
investments or whatever.
But if they don't take those investments, I mean, or whatever they do.
It's just, like I said, it'd be
Yeah.
whatever the bottom line of W-2 would be, that's what would be counted, right?
And when I say that, that one came up immediately, but I feel across the board about the tax relief is that it is an honor system. But I feel like out of that 95 counties, and I know how closely we police everything. And it takes a lot of time to really go through these applications and ask for all of the the documents that you need to make sure. And we do exhaust all that because we have them to bring it in. And we do go through all the paperwork. Because, as we spoke before, and we'll get into that probably later, where the tax relief is now.
Yeah, actually, I don't know this, on the tax relief, is there an asset test on that? I don't know that there is, it's also income based on it. So it's a similar situation, you could take tax relief and have $1 million in your bank account if you didn't have that. Yeah, so,
I mean, my knee-jerk reaction to that is just simply, we may be surprised, but how many folks really fall into that category? You know what I mean?
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's
You know,
just
I mean, I know it's a,
Small percent.
right, so valid point, but,
well, I said that because when she said it is there.
yeah, definitely.
We have addressed it,
Sure.
yes.
Commissioner, yeah.
I'm gonna touch before I forget it, and line of
Yeah.
this one. So, in freezing, the tax freeze thing would not cover anything under Greenbelt. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. It's only the dwelling in 1 acre, because the dwelling in 1 acre and any structure above the dirt does not get greenbelt.
Okay.
So,
So, we've got this scenario of zoning where the farmer can have up to 3 houses on that piece of property as long as they're fully involved in the farming operations. I don't know how would that work?
you would only, the person that's trying to qualify for it, it would only be their primary residence. And we would,
Just the residents and not the acreage?
not the acreage.
Right.
And then any structure that is with the home, like garage, outbuilding. Now, when you get into barns and all that, you gotta separate them.
So this tax freeze is just literally on the house.
The house and any supporting structures and up to 5 acres.
Up to 5.
Yes, but on Greenbelt, if they wanna put 5 acres in there with the house, they gotta take 4 acres out of Greenbelt,
Yeah.
and then the dwelling would be the 5th
So,
acre. And they're not gonna wanna do that.
Go back to my scenario of the 3 people that are allowed to build on the farm. And it's all,
Maybe put it up to 5 acres 3 times.
Not if they don't, they have to qualify within the program, so they have to be over 65 and they have to fall within this income limit. So if it's a mom and dad on the property, a son, and then a daughter who all have houses on there, the only thing that would qualify is the mother and dad and 1 acre with the supporting
1 acre
structures
with the-
around
with the house.
that house. Yeah.
Okay. But these RVs that people have got parked out there. and someone's in that who meets this qualification, but they're not paying the property taxes.
That's a Tanya question, but they can, didn't you all have a, mobile home in a mobile home park that qualified that was owned by the individual? And they qualified, so you'd have to pull that out, but then you get into the problem of that mobile home is taxed to the mobile home park owner, not to the individual. So it gets muddy real quick.
And the 37,530 for the county park, is that husband and wife?
It's whoever's on the deed.
Yes.
So if both of them are on the deed, it's a combined income.
And if
of
there
that.
is others that are in that deed that live on that dwelling, we have to take their income also. We have, yes.
Say that again?
If it's an additional person besides husband and wife,
Say a
Living in
child.
the house.
a child that's living in the house, and
And
they
they're-
have any kind of income, we have to take that income.
Okay, that's good. What, and does that say Granny Gunch, who's pulling social security too?
Yes.
Any income of anybody living in that
But
house?
that's tax relief too, isn't it?
Yes, tax
Yeah,
relief,
so it's
yes,
both programs.
yes.
Okay.
And I will say this $118 for 25, that's gonna fluctuate because the ratio pulls that down. So in 26, it should go up to maybe 124, 128, something like that.
It'll be on its top.
So,
So I know we've talked about it is directly focused on if we have a tax increase, it would freeze it. So we're fixing to come up to reappraisals. So does it also go into play whenever their house is reappraised? If their value goes up, their rate would still be frozen, correct?
not the rate, the
Okay.
tax amount will
The
be
tax amount.
frozen.
So say they paid
Yes.
$1,000 and their house goes up 20%, they're still paying $1,000.
Yes, sir.
reappraisal. And see, I think we focused on tax increases, but this to me seems to be the biggest impact because reappraisals are going to happen every 5 years, no matter what. Or we'll
Right,
find out.
or
But, you know,
three.
potentially. But
Yeah.
the thing is so they're going to get the benefit every 5 years, guaranteed, if this passes.
Well, it's gonna come, there's a possibility it can come down.
Mhm.
Because if they're frozen at an amount and their house doesn't go up more than the average, and that tax rate comes down, it could be that their new tax that they pay is lower and they'll adjust it down. They don't
Okay.
adjust up, but they
Okay.
adjust
I
down.
was going to ask that, so that's good.
But you've got the story of, I'm gonna take 20 of you out to eat, you get whatever you want to eat. Now, when we're done and they bring the bill, I'm gonna tell you 10, you go get on the bus, you don't have to pay. Your 501c3s, government, any kind of exempt properties. Now, the bill's still gotta be paid, but we're gonna ask you 10 people to pay it. So it's shifting the burden. Now, is it a positive to the elderly when we go through reappraisal? It is, that's the positive side. The other side is you got a husband and wife, both working, making minimum wage with 3 children. They're gonna take that tax break. So it's got good and bad both ways.
I think as we go through this, I think we need to talk about both of those points because
Yes.
you know, tax increase is a potential, you know, but
Reappraisal
appraisals
happens.
are guaranteed.
Yeah,
reappraisal
Would
happens.
give them
Yes.
a benefit every 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah, and it will not, and I've had some people ask me this, it's not gonna help with the reappraisal we're having now. At this
No, I
point,
mean, this would be,
if it even got passed this year at all, everybody that applied for it and qualified would be frozen at the new appraisal rate that would happen this year, and then they'd be protected going forward, so.
As
Yeah.
long as they have to apply
They
every
would have to
year.
apply every year, yeah. Can you just talk about trustee's office, kind of what's involved with you implementing this, how much work you feel like it's gonna be for the people? I know you've talked to, Sherry in Putnam County as well,
Yes.
about kind of what they ran into the first couple of years.
Well, I think the first year will be the hardest just implementing the freeze and getting, because they do have to apply and be approved. So there is about 2 pages of paperwork for applicant, to submit to the state. So it will be basically bringing them in and having all of their information, which is pretty well, what we already have, but there will be a few changes to that. I can say that my office is very low staffed. I now have 5 employees besides myself. 1 employee is strictly the bookkeeper, so she can't touch anything with the bookkeeping side, so I have 4 staff. I do have 2 along with myself that work on the tax relief. It is a lot of time consumed there, and when you were looking at these numbers here and the amount of time, I'm not saying it's going to take 4 hours per applicant,
Right,
But-
yeah.
but it is time consuming because there is so much involved in those deeds and those trusts and those life estates and others. And, you know, it's going back and a lot of times really having to spend some time at the deeds or with the assessor's office or with the state of Tennessee. And I think it's gotten a little bit more complex because there's such a growth in the relief and the freeze and the counties. Growth comes a lot of concerns and a lot of decision making on how to move forward. So with only 4, or I say 5, I'll go back to 4 because bookkeeper is out. The 2 that does work on tax relief alone, it has been like, and now I know I don't want to pull away from the elderly because that's what we're here for, but I can tell you that we've had 100 new veterans. And it's hit fast and furious. So they're having to deal with all 4 classifications. So, and that being said, we are having spent a lot of times on these applicants dealing with the VA. So it's, even though we need to focus on elderly, we have 3 other classifications that we are constantly having every day to work that application. And yes, we do take the summers to continue to try to get a little bit ahead of it. In order to start the new freeze program, it would be starting all like from the very beginning. So it's going to be a process. It may not take that much time once we implement it and we have it where we annually just get them approved. But just that first year, getting relief and the freeze, like I said, it's a lot of time consumed with only 2 people that have multiple duties already just to make the trustees office work.
Right.
Because, you know, we deal so closely with the assessor with, you know, appeals and pickups and deletes, and it's on and on with, you know, with our bankruptcies and our court and all the other things we do in the county. So I would, full circle back around, I am 1 short right now with the growth. Now, I need another person just to keep up with what's happening in the banking of the county. To implement a freeze, I mean, I think I could get, if I had 1 more, I'd have to have at least 1 more employee. Possibly, not knowing where's the growth, maybe a part-time, but I would definitely have to have 1 full-time employee.
And circling back to Rhonda, I know we've talked about, you really need, I know we're talking about 1, but you really need a new field team.
Yeah.
Because your field team is already hitting too many properties a month and having
Yes.
trouble keeping up.
Yes.
Yeah. So could that, the person that I know you're gonna need if you did this, could that be one of those 2 field team people you think, or do you need somebody separate from one of them?
I'm hoping it could be one of the field teams.
Yeah.
Where you run into, we've got office work that has to be done on these.
Right.
And the 4 I talked to today, you know, that was their that takes time.
Oh, sure.
So I'm kind of split, cause I gotta have both sides,
Right, you're gonna have field
you
and
know,
office,
because where we're at, just in growth on the field side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when they're pushing 8,000 to 10,000 parcels a year that they're on, they just can't do it. And I'm not hired because I keep thinking, well, surely it's gonna stop, surely it's gonna slow down, and I don't
It's
want
not slowing
people
down.
sitting around when we don't need them.
Sure.
So they've graciously done above and beyond,
Yeah.
so.
You know, when we speak of tax relief, we're speaking of, you said the 4 classifications.
Right.
You know, the elderly, the disabled, the veteran spouse. So we, like I said, in each application, I looked at my number because I knew it was 773
Yeah.
on the total of that.
Right.
And, you know, we started with 517 elderly. That is almost like a reset constantly. I mean, I look back today at just, and not the financial side, because when I say we don't have the financial side, you mentioned Robert Daniel. That is gonna be the financial side. I was just using numbers only through my reports of the tax relief and what our office is paying out, not speaking of Robert's number.
Mr. Feldhaus, our numbers guy from the city, do you have any questions that have come up now that you've digested a little bit?
I'm curious, back to the original numbers of total property taxes collected. And that you don't know this off the top of your head probably, but what is the total appraised property we have in the city and then the whole county, including the city? Do you happen to know about?
I don't have it on the top of my head, but I have it on my phone. I can probably find it for you if y'all wanna keep going.
That was.
We'll leave the Jeopardy music, Rhonda, while you're.
What all that handouts?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I guess this question for Tanya then, you say you have all this work on the tax relief program now. Did I hear that the county doesn't even participate in the full veteran and everything?
They have to do the paperwork, but they don't match the dollar amount. The state, every
Still
county
have to
has
do
to.
that.
Yeah, oh yes, we
Okay.
do all
Yeah.
4 classifications
Okay.
paperwork,
That's
yes.
where I was confused.
Yes.
So do they get the relief, the extra?
No, we do, the county does not
But
match.
you're having to do all that work so you get the
Yes.
state's part.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you mention honor system when you were talking about that?
yes.
So now, we get into more
Now,
detail.
if you're speaking of the veterans, they don't have
Yeah,
to show
yeah.
an income.
I'm talking about the senior.
Yeah,
I
it's a-
can't get it to pull up.
Yes. When I say that it's on an honor system, that's how the state looks at it, it's an
Right.
honor system, but that because of the growth,
Right.
they have really, really buckled down and there's a lot more information being asked now than ever before because of the concern, because, the financial side of the relief.
Thank you.
Yeah, it won't let me pull it up.
I don't know, and this may not be anything, cause this is relief, and I did pull the numbers on the 2025 total taxes on relief that the county paid out, which was, for the elderly. This is strictly for the
Right.
elderly,
Right.
was $423,073, and so that would be, the average, and I think you spoke that, Josh, that the $489. The average taxes paid was $465.18. We started with 489 people is what I'm saying, and the
Okay.
average tax was $865.18.
Correct, that 865 numbers. Yeah, I've got those numbers you gave me last week. We had, at that point, you had 179 veterans, 34 widows of veterans, and 43 disabled. on the
Yes.
program as of
Yes.
last week.
That's correct.
Yeah, and what's that, veterans, if you didn't know, get a lot more money than what's that number
Yeah.
from the county side? What's, do you know what
That was
paying is?
$664.
$664 instead of $118.
Yeah,
The
that,
city's 403.
City gets 403, and we match that 403. Kay does, because she's very generous and.
Well, thanks that, trust me. And we have 325 currently on the tax relief program at the city.
In the city.
Do you see with making changes, I'm asking Tanya, Tanya and Rhonda, do you see the increase in employees and time and those situations? And Kay, you'd be a part of this too. Would it cause a tax increase on other folks? Do you think when the county goes through budget time, that they'd be looking at a tax increase to take care of these extra employees and things that would put another burden on
yes.
other taxpayers?
It's part of your shift, you know, we talked about.
Yeah, it just should, yeah.
Because I can't say it enough that because of so much growth,
Right.
they're really asking for more than they've ever asked before. I've had to literally move the two best of my employees off the front just to work the paperwork. That's just the relief, and I'm there helping too. And they have many other multiple tasks that they have to get done in a day's time. So, yes, and when I say one employee, I need an employee now just to meet the demands. Yes, to the future and adding a freeze, I would probably need at least a part-time.
And the growth is affecting county and city, we all know that.
Yeah,
And-
right.
And employees are busier than they've ever been, and we need extra employees in a lot of different areas.
Well, there's just so many challenges
Yeah,
ahead with the
yeah.
growth.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And I did, I don't know, this is kind of throwing some numbers out there too, because I know when I went back and made sure, because it's ever resetting, they're coming off, they're rolling on, it's a constant deal. That the true number as of today is 489, that's gonna change tomorrow. But I just did I know that the county's doing a 118 match
Right.
along with whatever the state is doing, and it is at 5-year reappraisal, so we're gonna hit high.
Right.
It's gonna be back up, but just right now in current time, and I know we're looking toward budget, I increased it 550, which would have been, where the payout this year
Right.
was 61,000.
Yeah.
550 would be 64.9, and 600 would be 70,800. So I'm kind of watching those numbers too.
Yeah. Did I hear the mayor say the other night when you had your meeting, when I reviewed that they put a $100,000 budget and you're talking 61 or 64 now? And
We're at 100,000.
we do 35K,
We
that's what,
did 35,000 this year.
okay,
We'll be close to that.
We are budgeted for 100,000.
okay,
We have used $61,006.
that's what I thought.
Exact number.
Yeah.
So we have, say, 39,000 left. At our number right now, 35,000 divided by that's 5 to 17.
Right.
The county is in a standing of that 100,000 that they could have actually paid $75 more to the relief
Okay.
elderly.
It stayed under that, or right after.
And
our
stayed
$1,000
within
mark.
budget.
Yeah, good.
And Henry, on those assessments, you would get 25 assessments, I can't give you 26 yet. They're not available, because we're not done with the
Yeah.
reappraisal.
Yeah, I don't want the
But I-
reappraisal,
I
I want the
can-
scary numbers.
I can get it to you.
And I can say too, and I've got these numbers, I just looked down at this because I was thinking current year, because it was gonna be 423.73 that the hourly would, that's what their total taxes would be. So if we freeze them, the county would have to, I'm using a 10% tax increase.
Right.
So at 10% at 489 people, it's gonna increase at 42,307. So, that being said, we still county, if it was a 10% increase, it would almost stay within that, it'd be tight in that budget of
In
that
that 100 that's.
I had to say that because we mentioned the 100,000, so I just threw that 10% tax increase in there and seen with what we can do for the elderly at that 100,000. This year, they would have at that number received an additional $75 each along with the 118.
Right.
Well, I'm looking at the state map that Kay pulled up for me, and we're looking at what the income limits are now under the programs that we have. And you can see Rutherford County like 61,000 already, and some Davidson and some of those. Then we get over into East Tennessee and they're around 61. As we look at Lincoln, they're about the same. They're a little lower than we are at 37. But looking at the entire state, you can kind of get an idea of the income limits they're set. Are they setting them themselves or based on the average income of the citizens? Is that where the state comes up with this?
They only have two options.
Okay.
Yeah. And what you're seeing on this 61,920,
Right,
which is the highest option.
right.
And I'm not sure about Williamson County, cause they're at 67,000, I think they're an animal of themselves.
Yeah.
But your bigger counties have adopted the 61,920, they've
Okay.
gone all the way to the top of
Okay, all
it.
right.
Your smaller
Yeah,
ones.
I saw that across the state there, okay. So they've already adopted it, those counties have.
Yes, yeah, these counties have already,
Yeah.
27.
So the smaller ones are staying at the 42.
Well, they're staying at whatever their income, every
Right.
county's different.
Right.
So, sorry.
That's why they're looking at.
So in regards to these numbers, do they go up every year, those two? Yeah,
They recalculate.
they recalculate based
And
on.
it's not a big movement.
That was my
It's
final question.
It's a small movement.
Okay, so that would give us more of a footprint to understand almost, what we'd be working with. Okay.
And I will say that the state will be here at your next meeting, and they can answer probably some of those questions. Where do you get your calculation for this income?
Yeah.
That type of stuff, so.
Yeah, I'd like to see those step increases throughout the years, at least for the last, 5-10 years. Just to see.
Yeah, I don't know the low one. I do know how the high one is done. The high one was just passed 2 years ago. They started at 60, and they're following the Social Security cost of living adjustment on that one every year.
Okay.
So the 60 is
Okay.
going up by whatever the official federal cost of living increase. The smaller one is a different calculation, but that's what the
Okay.
big one comes from.
John,
Yeah, go ahead.
one thing I don't have, I really like to
Oh.
have, and Kay, I'm sure would do it. She's got half of it right here.
She's got all the
I can't hear
information.
you. Is, like a spreadsheet of the cities and the counties that have the tax freeze, but also if they have the tax relief also.
100% of counties have the tax relief. That's a state program, so they don't have a
Yeah.
choice. We don't have a choice.
They might not
Yeah.
match it.
Well,
They may not
that's
match.
what I'm wanting to know. Do
Yeah,
they
match.
match it?
right.
Is there any way to find out if
We'd
they?
have to call each trustee. I think Tony did that research 5 years ago.
I just
Yeah.
gotta update it.
Yeah.
I'm actually working on a new spreadsheet as of today, just
This is
to,
our old right there.
yeah, that's our own study of 19. I actually contacted all 95 states, and the ones that did not answer my email, I called them.
Okay.
I knew it's in there. I just got,
That'd just be interesting to know if.
To see who's
really-
matching and, yeah.
and they do it all over the board. Some counties do $50, $75, $100, $200, some double match. Some will pay just what the state does, and then at one time, at 19, it was 23 counties. Now I think it's 27 counties, so.
Okay. Tony don't have anything else to do. That would really be, get pretty complicated then.
Yeah, but
No,
That'd be
it's
a good
not
data point.
complicated.
Oh,
No, it's just,
It's a phone
Time
call.
consuming.
it's,
Yeah, it's a
it's,
phone call.
95 of them.
Or road trip.
we don't have that in the budget.
I agree.
No road trip.
Sam Davis has spoken.
Yeah, on the frequently asked questions, it just goes over and over again. It's telling you about principal residence is what they're talking about.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
folks, when they're talking about all this other property and things that they have, it'd be the principal residence and then the dimensions that you're talking about.
And once they qualify and say the next year they forget, they don't get the deadline, they don't come back at their frozen amount. They go up and then they start all over again, so,
I think I saw that too,
Yeah.
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 It's not a one and done and it stays there. And I've actually had some people say, we should have to pay the taxes. Frozen doesn't mean you're not paying taxes.
That's right.
You're paying
You know,
taxes.
That's right.
So, but, you know, I appreciate so much you all doing this because I think it needs to be studied and it needs to be looked at, to see how we can help if we can.
Yeah, if it's feasible. Sure.
But I appreciate you doing this because we've never had this before.
Yes. Yeah.
and the depth of the study of it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we're getting into now some real numbers, and we've talked more, maybe I have, more on the relief side,
Right.
because that's what we live, you know, but, when we go back to the elderly, and, you know, we do police these numbers every day, because they like a reset, it resets, because they're rolling off, but then the growth is pushing. And you spoke about the future of the relief. I think this is a really good open study that we really get down to the meat of it in those dollar numbers.
Yeah.
Because it is the most vulnerable and, you know, it's averaging 489 to 517 and now it'll hit higher and then it comes back. That's why it's so much more to what's going on, because it's a constant. But yes, you spoke of the 100,000 that the county has budgeted in, and when we get to that free side of it, what that $100,000 does for that number
Yeah.
versus
Right.
what it's paying out now, and what could have been like
Right.
this budget year. But we're still working toward the unknown.
Yeah, same thing in the city.
Yeah, things are gonna change. Yeah, I mean, we're in reappraisal, so all these numbers will move some, but yeah. Again, as the mayor and I talked about the stuff on the back, Mayor Graham and I, the pie will get bigger, but a lot of the percentages will stay the same. And before Kay asked her question, I had one point that Kay was also made when we talked today. We're looking forward to hearing from the state next month because we've got questions on the city side as far as implementation. You know, we mail out our tax bills and stuff like that. How can we help shift some of the burden off you?
Right.
We've got James in our office that handles some of these tax relief applications. Now, how much can we do for the city residents so that we're not just throwing the whole, I don't want to just throw a bunch of work at you and say, hey, go do it.
There you go.
know, yeah, so, yeah, but, Kay could maybe speak to that. I think she also had a question because she had her hand up.
I was planning to shift it all to them, but.
Oh, you want
That's gonna work that way.
I think you mentioned this earlier, but I think there was some confusion, not at this meeting, but previously. Are we saying we're studying this, but there's no, you're not anticipating this to happen for this tax year, right?
Well, we're already in a
Reappraisal.
reappraisal, yeah,
The
you can't.
reappraisal's gonna affect
Reappraisal's
everybody,
happening.
That's right.
and then this would take place
This
after
is
that.
future, yeah, this would be the next.
I just didn't want there to be confusion about when it might.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the reappraisal starts soon, right?
Right.
We've already started, we're getting ready to finish the end of this month. We have our final value meeting, so they'll be locking in on numbers.
Will the people that qualify for the tax freeze, will they still be able to go and use the tax relief as well?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah, we're not even considering
Yeah, we're not.
cutting our match, or if anything on the tax relief, I'd like to see us give them a little more money out of the budget,
This
yeah.
would just be in
It
addition
does.
to it.
This is an additional step, yeah.
Another program.
Yeah, like she mentioned, different counties do it differently. Putnam already is doing more. I can't remember, they gave me that dollar amount, but I think they're giving like 250 or something instead of just matching. Yeah, there's an amount that they're giving. They actually, their county commission picked an amount every year, and that's how much they give to their seniors. And yeah, that's the city and the county can look at. I didn't know any of these dollar figures that we've now gathered over the last couple of months. The only number I'd ever heard, you know, I go to a lot of meetings, is 100,000 in the budget for the county and 35 for the city. I had no idea what we were giving our seniors, what we were giving our veterans. I didn't even know there was an option to change that amount, to give them more. So I think that's all worth considering on the relief side. Definitely when it comes budget time, you know, consider, you know, could we help with it? Have you ever run the numbers at the county? If you rolled your veterans into your match, does that, I mean, that wouldn't shoot it to like 200,000 or anything, would it? You know, what it's I know it's a lot more per, but you don't have near, what was that? You don't have a ton of veterans. I mean, not near as many as you do seniors. What's your veteran number? I've got it here somewhere.
179.
179. And what's our,
Right now, we've paid
Six.
out over, right at 112,000.
so it would more than double what you're paying out.
Oh,
to
yeah.
do that.
And that's just the veteran, that's not the veteran.
That's not the spouse or the other stuff, yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it down here on the paper. Yeah. So really, for you to match completely, you have to, as we sit, is right at $200,000. So if you double your budget amount, you can match everything. Would be good. We can leave that for another mayor and commission. Let them make that call. So,
Well, you could give them what you match the elderly at, you know.
no, that's true.
You
Yeah,
could,
could
you
give
could
118
move in
to
a
everybody.
direction
Yeah,
to help
Sure.
them a little bit. You
Yeah.
might not be able to help them the full amount, but
they'd probably still stay under that 100,000 number. Yeah.
I just don't be wrong for saying that, because there's just the little different, little pieces of puzzle that can
Yeah.
work differently, so.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it really good.
So when the state comes in next month, they're just gonna kind of give us an overview.
But we're not
Answer
still,
questions.
it's gonna be, okay, I may be shifting this a little bit, so I'm thinking of April. Because you're really not gonna know.
we won't have any, our numbers will be locked in the end of February. We will not have a certified rate until the end of April. So,
we won't.
so as far as knowing, we're not gonna know. But they can answer a lot of
Procedural and,
questions
yeah,
as
the
far as-
process.
and go through their process. They deal with a lot of these counties. Most of them are on the impact system that we're on in the office, so they're very familiar. They know. They come in and train. They have to add stuff to our computers to be able to do this stuff. So
Yeah, I heard that from either DeKalb or Putnam. One of them had an IT issue where their assessor and the trustee wasn't on the same system, and they said the first year was a disaster until they got on the same. But your systems are a little better.
we're not
Well,
on the
under not.
same system.
No, same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit of an IT
Yeah.
job as well. So yeah.
Good discussion.
You have any more questions? Anybody? Anybody else?
Yes, no, Josh, Eric, thank y'all for bringing this, seriously. This is something been needing to talk about for a while. This is giving us the details that we need, so I just appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody volunteering to be on this and doing this, because I think that, you know, our senior citizens have worked their tails off their entire life, paid in, and so we need to look at every angle we can to make it easier for them to survive. And we know that they're on fixed incomes, a lot of them, and so this is extremely, extremely important. So thank y'all too for doing the work, and thank y'all all for putting the time in, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Real quick, I just want to say one thing. I want to give some huge kudos to Councilman Blevins. I mean, he's put a lot of this data, all the data together that we're going over. But I've given him enough kudos over the past week, so I want to shift it. I just wanted to say thanks to y'all for your offices. Y'all have been amazing. I know that we've had meetings, Josh has had meetings with y'all. And I guess the overall tone of this discussion right here is what it feels like it's supposed to be about when it comes to county government taking care of the people's business. It's open discussion, debate, making the best logical, common sense decision, and it just feels good. And thank you. Thank you.
And I wanna thank Josh for live streaming it for us, so
Yeah.
everybody can see.
Well, we're not live, we're recorded, but we'll go on YouTube later. So, yeah.
I didn't know I knew you had a camera.
I don't know if it would bleep you out later or something, so we'll see. Yeah, and I want to thank, just real quick, Rhonda and Tony as well, because I know I've showed up at both your offices, I've announced multiple times, and he's been gracious every time in taking this to speak with me.
We just appreciate how much work and time has been put into this. We realize that these numbers just don't appear. And you know, and to sit here and to be able to just put the truth out there, and sometimes in leading a study like this, sometimes we have to say things that might not be in the better, but in the end, it is, we are focused to the final end of decisions, the best decision to lift the burdens of the most vulnerable. We are following some hard conversation, and I hope the general public sees that everyone sits here because they do want to see the best and the best decision.
That's right.
And whether it be relief or the freeze or both. And I can tell you, my office and the future of the assessor employee. Will move forward. It will move forward.
Well, I appreciate everybody coming, and we'll do it again next month. Appreciate everybody in the audience coming and asking questions. And then make a motion to adjourn.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.